when I inquired with the civil status office, it came out that, in fact, those persons have moved. The mother was so angry with the kids that they said, "No, mera beta mar gaya." The son is dead. So so we need to be careful when removing dead entries, because not every time it's the right information. So we do a matching with the civil registry so that we can confirm that these persons are deceased electors, then we remove from the roll. We also have deletion of double entries. You will see that we have a lot of people bearing the same names, but two separate persons even have similar date of birth, and similar dates of birth, similar names. So it's difficult to just do a matching with the civil registry and deletion of names. So we do basically through the door-to-door process to get the accurate information before deletion of names. And if in case we have a situation where we are kind of not very sure whether it's a double entry, so we call for a revision sitting, and then we call both persons, and then if it's a single person, then we can proceed to the deletion of the name. Because it's a constituency-based system, so one person can be registered in only one constituency. He cannot be registered in any other constituency. But at times you will have people who submit a claim in one constituency and who submit a claim in another constituency. So we need to be careful, because at some point in time, he want to stay with the grandparents, and some point in time he's with the parents, and then we have these people who appear on the both sides. So we need to do a revision sitting at times to confirm that's the same person and before the deletion of the names. The second phase of the registration. So once we have cleaned the register, the first electors list, it is published, and this list is made available for inspection in the registration centers and even at the office of the Electoral Commissioner. It is widely publicized, radio, television, our website, Facebook page. We also have a lot of publicity campaigns, and even there are flyers and all distributions to members of parliament, just for politicians to know, and even they can ask their people to check whether there are anomalies in the register. So during the registration process, people come to the centers, they do the verification. If their names are not on the register, they can submit a claim to register. If their names are incorrectly appears on the register, there's a mistake in the or a typo, then they can submit a claim to be correctly registered. And what facility that we have during those periods is a verification mechanism. Instead of going to a center, the elector can just use his national identity card. National identity card is a unique ID which is given to each and every Mauritian citizen. And he can use this ID either through an SMS on his mobile phone. He just sends his details to a specific number, and then he will get his registration details. If ever he's not registered, he will receive a message that he is not on the database and he has to contact the office to register. But this search engine is very interesting, because most of the people use this search engine to check whether they're registered or not. This similar service is also available on the website. They can go on the website and check the search engine. They just have to put their ID and they check their registration details. Here, if they are not registered, they can go to the centers or come to the office of the Electoral Commissioner to register themselves. This service is also available during elections, because it helps people to know in which voting room they vote. And for Mauritius, there are polling stations. So in one polling station, you can have up to 22 voting rooms. And these persons, they know exactly in which polling station they have to go, in which voting room, because they have their name appear to be able to vote. There's also a helpline, a toll-free service, where they can call at the commissioner if there is any issue on the voters. After these two processes, we have again the deletion of dead entries and the publication of the list of claimants, because in Mauritius also we have this objection. Any registered elector may object to the name of the person appearing on the register. Let's say somebody says he lives near to you, and then in fact the person never lives here. Being a constituency-based system, an elector may come and object that this person is not qualified to be registered. Then he will submit an objection, and the registration officer will do a revision sitting and will call both parties and decide whether the name should be kept or should be deleted from the register. But until now, we didn't have any person objecting on the names. It's just like for Bihar, we didn't have any objections. And finally, after all the objections, there are legal deadlines for all these legal dates for registration, for objection, for deletion of debt. These are legal deadlines. And then after it, we compile and publish the register of electors, which comes into force on the 16th of August each year. Since the introduction of use of identity cards, in fact, prior to 2014, we were not using any ID document. An elector just had to come in a polling station and say, I am Prema Ramuddin, and I will have to give him a ballot paper. But then with time, we see a lot of people coming and usurpation of name. We have impersonation cases. So we asked for the introduction of national identity card. Now, the national identity cards now have to be produced by every voter before he is able to vote. And since we had this national identity card requirement, we started the cleaning of data, because many a time we see that persons were on the register with their nicknames. Even we have this high focus inquiry, they were still having their nicknames instead of their original name as it appeared on their birth certificate. So we had started this cleaning of data, and until now we have reached 90%, because registration officer as a BLO here, they go and check every detail from the national identity card of the elector, and then we started the cleaning of data. But the 10% is quite challenging these days, because most of them are not in Mauritius, most of them studying or working abroad, and you don't have the facility to get those persons to get the ID. We're still working on it to find other solutions on how to go about it. Registration challenges, as I told you earlier, being Mauritius having annual register, it's an issue when we have elections, because let's say we compile a register of electors from names of persons who are registered in January to 2 weeks in January, those who were there, and 2 weeks in May. But those persons who miss those 2 exercises, unfortunately, they cannot be on the register. And this is a big problem for the OEC. What has happened is we have been able to make recommendations to the government, and the law has been amended, but only for the municipal council elections. We stopped the annual register when we had an addendum to the register. In fact, just after the writs of elections were issued for the municipal council elections, we had amendments to the law, and 5 days were reserved for new persons to be able to register themselves. So if they are not already on the register, it's only meant for new claimants, for those who were not here, and then they can submit their claims, and an addendum was put to the register so that these people are also included. But this measure hasn't been extended to the national for general elections purposes. Our main issue is also mobility of electors. We have a high mobility of electors, and then we have difficult areas where, there are areas where it's very difficult for canvassers to reach. There are gated properties, and it's difficult for canvassers to access those areas. And as regards registration centers, I would say very few persons call at the registration center. If I can give you statistics, if you look at the actual register, the yearly 1 million mark, we'll see that only 1% are captured during the registration phase in registration centers. 99% of our register comes from the house-to-house inquiry, the door-to-door exercise. If we don't do the door-to-door exercise, we won't have the number of electors, because we'll be having a declining register every year. We need to maintain the house-to-house inquiry for it to work in Mauritius. As regards the way forward, we are trying to do electronic capturing of the registration details instead of having those forms manually filled. But we are facing a lot of challenges, because people say we need to have these signatures on the form as it was in the past. They don't want the digital signatures. We are having kind of issues before we reach this electronic capturing of registration details. We really want to have continuous registration so as to solve the problem of persons not being here in registration cases, and we also want to go for online registration. Thank you all. We will have questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the valuable session. Thank you for bringing out the issues that face with voter registration and how you are trying to overcome that. And yes, we reiterate the fact that India has the ever changing electoral role, ever changing. By the time we end this session, our electoral role has changed already. So may I now request Honorable Mr. Chuang Damiao to please present your input. Thank you.
I'll- Wait.
Bom dia.
Good morning to all of you.
Bom dia a todos.
Good morning to all of you.
Bom dia aos colegas do painel
And I would like to present my greetings to the panel colleagues as well,
e a todos os delegados a esta conferência.
and all the delegates of this conference.
A diversidade mundial
The world diversity or the global diversity,
faz com que esses países tenham culturas diferentes,
and we have a number of countries which are represented here, which have got different cultures and languages,
línguas diferentes,
various languages,
legislações diferentes,
and different legislatures,
mas com o objetivo igual para a gestão democrática dos processos eleitorais.
but we are gathered here to achieve one goal, which is unique for all of us, that is to ensure democracy in all of our electoral processes that are being conducted across the globe.
Por esta razão, vou fazer a minha comunicação na cultura da língua que é do meu país, que é português.
Therefore, I'm going to represent here and I'm going to speak in the language which is the national language of our country, which is Angola.
Angola é país situado na África, na região da África Austral, situado, integrado na região da SADC.
Our country of Angola is located in the southwestern part of Africa, and this is part of SADC, which is South African Development Community.
País com 1.245.700 km².
And this is of 14,000 square kilometers of distance.
21 províncias,
We have 21 provinces
326 municípios
and 325 municipalities
e 378 comunas.
and 378 communities.
E neste quadro é integrada por cerca de, até nas últimas eleições de 2022, foram as eleições mais de 14 milhões de eleitores.
And this is here we have we are representing all the people who have participated in the last election.
O último censo de 2024-2025 estima Angola com cerca de 36 milhões de eleitores, o que quer dizer que aproximadamente os 20 e tal milhões serão eleitores para as próximas eleições.
For the census which was taken in the year 24-25, we had about 36.6 million people who were residing in Angola, and out of them, about 20 million people were exercising their voting rights.
Nos termos da Constituição de Angola,
In terms of the Angolan constitution,
a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral é um órgão independente que tem a competência, a responsabilidade de organizar todos os processos eleitorais.
the National Electoral Commission is very independently functioning organization, and it has the responsibility of organizing and carrying out the process of elections.
No processo eleitoral de Angola, intervêm aproximadamente três entidades.
In this election process, we have three entities which are taking part.
O Presidente da República que convoca as eleições,
And President is the one who is calling for the elections.
o o Tribunal Constitucional que recebe as candidaturas
and the Constitutional Tribunal receives the candidature,
e a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral que conduz toda a máquina eleitoral desde o período que recebe o registro eleitoral até a publicação dos resultados finais.
the Electoral Commission, which is receiving all the candidates' details, and it takes charge of from that point onward till the conducting of the elections.
Do ponto de vista histórico, Angola vem a realizar os processos eleitorais desde 1992, a altura que se proclamou o multipartidarismo.
From the year 1942 onward, we have been conducting elections after elections, and at that point of time, we started with the multiple party contesting in the elections.
As primeiras eleições de 92 foram o Conselho Nacional Eleitoral com a égide das Nações Unidas.
And during the year 1992, we conducted elections under the leadership of the United Nations.
E as eleições subsequentes de 2008, 2012, 2017, 2022 foram realizadas integralmente pela Comissão Nacional Eleitoral.
And the subsequent elections after the 1992 election, and were all conducted by the Election Commission of Angola itself.
Neste momento que a delegação de Angola está a participar nesta conferência,
At this point of time, the delegation from Angola, is participating in this conference.
o seu presidente Manuel da Silva, o Manuel Pereira da Silva, juiz desembargador, também presidente da SADEC, das comissões eleitorais da SADEC e presidente da rede jurisdicional das comissões eleitorais da CPLP.
And our president, Mr. Manuel, is also leading us over here, and we are taking charge of one network of elections which are being held in our part of Africa.
E antes da saída do país, eles realizaram conjunto de despacho
And before leaving from our country, we spent a little time with him
para começar a organizar o processo eleitoral de 2027.
and we discussed about how do we conduct the elections which are going to be held in the year 2027.
No quadro da gestão eleitoral, como é que está constituída ou composta a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral?
And in the picture that we have seen, we saw that how the elections are being held in our country.
A Comissão Nacional Eleitoral é constituída por 18 membros.
Our National Election Commission was constituting of 18 members.
Juiz que preside, nessa altura temos juiz que está cá, que é o juiz desembargador, que é presidente da Comissão Nacional Eleitoral e lida com matérias eleitoral praticamente desde 1692.
And from the year 92 onward, we have one judge who is part of the committee also, and he is the one who is leading in the electoral processes of the Election Commission.
E 16 membros que são indicados por partidos políticos com assento parlamentar.
And 16 other members were nominated by different parties which are contesting in the elections for the National Assembly.
Esta estrutura é replicada nos municípios, nas províncias todas, nas 21 províncias, e nos municípios já com uma composição de 13 membros, e nos termos da nova lei.
And the similar kind of process is being replicated in all the municipal corporations which are part of our country, which is a little more 300 municipal corporations. And they also replicate a similar kind of processes of 13 odd members or more than that members forming part of the committee, which is being formed for every elections.
As decisões da Comissão Nacional Eleitoral têm força de lei, são de cumprimento obrigatório e publicados no Diário da República.
And these decisions which are being taken by the Election Commission in Angola are having binding capacity over the law, and they are also being published in the national daily.
E a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral toma suas decisões no plenário e nesse plenário também, nos termos da nova lei, para além dos mandatários, que são os que representam os partidos políticos concorrentes, os assistentes permanentes, atualmente os observadores nacionais, também terão assento no plenário da Comissão Nacional Eleitoral.
And our election commission members do have the ability and the mandate to carry out laws and publish those laws. And the decisions that we take are binding on all the members and all the municipal committees.
A Comissão Eleitoral de Angola, para gerir os processos eleitorais, ela precisa de três fases. But I think we need more time because we have some time for translator, no? Yeah, it's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. A Comissão Nacional Eleitoral, para organizar o processo eleitoral, tem três momentos diferentes. Aprova cronograma de ação de atividades.
And we have three different phases for every election, and it is starting with the chronogram or the programmation that we do for each election.
Temos a fase pré-eleitoral, onde organiza o mapeamento do país todo.
And we have pre-electoral phase in which we do a mapping of the entire country.
Nesta fase também faz a geografia eleitoral do país e começa com a produção de toda a logística eleitoral.
And in this phase of pre-election phase, we also do a mapping of how the logistical arrangements are going to be made in each place, and we also take into consideration the kind of geography which is existing in each municipal committee and in each region.
E nessa fase, a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral é que concede os tempos da antena aos partidos políticos, é que concede o financiamento aos partidos políticos concorrentes e, no fundo, é que monitoriza toda a campanha eleitoral dos partidos políticos e tem competências de aplicar sanções, caso violem a lei do princípio da igualdade.
And each political party receives equal competence over here in terms of the spending which is being done and the monetization of the electoral campaign which is being carried out by each of the party.
Depois temos a fase eleitoral propriamente dita, que é o dia das eleições.
And then comes the next phase, the second phase of electoral phase, the day of elections.
Depois da Comissão Nacional Eleitoral distribuir toda a campanha eleitoral, todo o material eleitoral às mesas de voto, então no dia da votação vota-se e depois da votação, que é a fase pós-eleitoral, faz a recolha daquilo que nós chamamos de logística inversa.
And then we do after the day of elections, we take the tables on which the voting was done and the voting booths that were made part of that, and then we do the post-electoral phase in which we collect all the votes that were gathered in different places and different municipals, and then we collect them.
A Comissão Nacional Eleitoral de Angola, para realizar os seus processos eleitorais, usa frequentemente, faz recurso às TICs, às tecnologias da informação, para articular o processo da transmissão da comunicação em todos os processos eleitorais.
The country of Angola uses the information and communication technology for improving the electoral logistics and the reverse logistics after the post-electoral phase. For everything, we use information and communication technology also.
Com o uso dessa tecnologia, Angola consegue aumentar a operacionalidade das operações.
And this helps us increase the operational efficiency of the elections.
Cria eficácia e eficiência no processo eleitoral.
And this increases the efficiency in the entire electoral process.
Garante confiança aos intervenientes ao processo eleitoral.
And this gives trust and confidence to everyone who is voting in the electoral process.
Aperfeiçoa as comunicações no processo eleitoral.
And this improves or betters the communication process in the electoral process.
Garante maior segurança dos dados eleitorais, informações, reduz atraso no tratamento de dados.
This guarantees better security of electoral data and information, and reduces any delay in handling of the electoral data.
Permite a divulgação dos resultados em tempo recorde.
And this also has allowed us to disseminate the electoral results in record time.
proporciona maior dinâmica na operacionalização do processo eleitoral.
This also gave us dynamic nature in making it operational. Our electoral process has been made operational in a dynamic manner.
Todas as fases do processo eleitoral angolano são utilizadas tecnologias para criar fluidez e rapidez no tratamento de dados.
And this process of using technology in our election processes has given us very fluidity and speed and of communications.
Aqui é o recrutamento dos membros das assembleias de voto, que é feito por intermédio das TICs também.
Here we have the recruitment of members of our election commission.
Os partidos políticos, a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral, concede-lhes tablets para, a partir das suas dos seus partidos políticos poderem fazer o registro dos delegados de lista.
And each party comes up with their own delegate list so that they could become part of the electoral process in the list.
Os tempos de antena, o credenciamento dos delegados de lista, a produção da logística eleitoral é monitorada com o sistema. A Comissão Nacional Eleitoral de Angola já sabe que cada urna está a dirigir para a Assembleia tal, tem um sistema de monitorização.
And each and every member who is part of this particular process, he has the ability and the authority and the responsibility to monitor the entire process of elections so that there is nothing which goes wrong against their own party.
Aqui é o exemplo da administração da produção da logística eleitoral e o controle excessivo de tecnologia para que cada voto se dirija especificamente à respectiva assembleia de voto.
And for every assembly voting which takes place, they take care of the integrity of data and the security of data using IT tools for monitoring each one of them.
O processo eleitoral angolano tem sido muito veloz do ponto de vista da aplicação e de apresentação de resultados por intermédio do uso das tecnologias.
And using this technology, we have seen the speeding up of the electoral results which are coming out.
Mas o uso das tecnologias é feito simplesmente para a comunicação, porque na mesa de voto, o voto é contado na presença de todos os delegados de lista e que assinam a ata da Assembleia da mesa de voto, e esta ata é que vai para o centro de escrutínio no uso da tecnologia. O que vai para ali é o resultado que sai da mesa de voto.
As far as the counting of votes is concerned, in each ballot polling booth, we make sure that all the representatives from different parties are present over there, and they monitor the counting of the votes in each municipality, in each polling booth. And in their monitoring, the counting is done. After the counting is done, then the results get transmitted through electronic means, through publication of the results.
Aqui é exemplo do processo de votação, uma Assembleia de Voto. Termina a votação, o processo do envio do processo de admissão na Nacional Eleitoral, o centro de escrutínio, e que começa em menos de 12 horas a publicar os resultados eleitorais.
After the completion of voting in each electoral booth, we are able to start publishing the voting results within 12 hours after the counting has been done.
Em nome do presidente da Comissão Nacional Eleitoral, termino a comunicação nesta conferência sobre dando nota que no quadro da organização do processo eleitoral, a Comissão Nacional Eleitoral é um pilar fundamental na consolidação da democracia.
Our National Election Commission of Angola is a very strong pillar as far as the democracy of our country is concerned.
Que tem realizado os processos com lisura e transparência,
and which has been carrying out elections in a very transparent and democratic manner in the past years.
Acentuando o uso elevadíssimo das tecnologias,
Also using the technologies for speeding up the process.
o que lhe permite alcançar a integridade total dos processos eleitorais
This has helped us increase the integrity of the entire electoral process.
e, como consequência, aumenta a qualidade das operações, aumenta a eficácia, proporciona maior dinâmica ao processo eleitoral, garante confiança dos concorrentes, garante segurança dos processos eleitorais, reduz os atrasos e permite a divulgação dos resultados em tempo recorde.
This has helped us publish the results in record time, reducing the delays which could happen otherwise with manual interventions. And this has also helped us to speed up every process that we are having in our country.
Isto faz com que Angola seja dos poucos países em África que divulgue os resultados eleitorais em menos de 24 horas após a votação. Muito obrigado pela atenção dispensada.
Thanks a lot for paying attention to our presentation about how Angola was able to speed up the publication of election results.
So we have another session at 2:15. So I request the speakers after this to kindly stick to the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for telling us about how you manage the database through the various phases of elections. I now request Professor S.P. Singh, sir, give his inputs. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all the delegates on the dais and off the dais. It is a travesty of destiny. And I was given the longest time of 20 minutes, but I'm told by my boss to finish in 5 minutes. So everything has been told by additional CEO Saab, so nothing has to be added. Just I want to say that I have come from the district Vaisali, which has practiced the earliest republics of the world, and also live in the country which is the longest and the largest democracy in the world. And since we practice democracy where the people is the master, we start our preamble also from we the people of India, and we enact and give ourselves to this constitution on 26th November 1949. And that's why the article from 324 to 329 comes into effect from 26th November 1949 itself. And since the political parties, where it is the central government also, participates in the elections, that's why Election Commission has been made an autonomous body, where the Chief Election Commissioner is also going to be removed, like the judges of the Supreme Court, and other election commissions are going to be removed on the recommendation of the Chief Election Commissioners. So it shows that how much independent our election commission is there, and it is practicing, it is working in a better way. Dear friends, India is the first country in the world where we have given the adult franchise under Article 326. Since the independence, when you see the country like America or England, the mother of democracy, it started in 1928. In America, by the 19th Amendment, 1920. But India started since the independence. And electoral role is very important because how to remove and how to see that only the original electors should vote. That's why under Article 327, we have Representation of People Act 1950, which goes for the preparations of the elections, Electoral of the Registration Act, Rules 1960, and also how to conduct, we have the Representation of People Act 1951. And it is an evolution. It is not all of a sudden it started. When you see the model report of 1909, from where we have started the electoral roll before independence. And at that time, property was required in order to become the electoral. Your government services are required, your income tax is required, land holding is required. But later on, by looking into all these things, it comes to the process that right now more than 1 crore people is going to vote. And sir has rightly pointed out that the first state in Bihar, SIR was done, and no any appeal was registered in Bihar, and no recording was also done. It shows the commitment, it shows the dedication of all the electoral officers of Bihar. So this is very important thing. I don't want to become a wall between you and the lunch. Just I want to say 2 or 3 points more, that we have to take certain things from other states also, like Brazil, because biometric practice is done when anyone is going to register as a voter. Then biometric is done so that fraudulent practices should not be there. And 150 days before, it should be stopped so that everyone should know that my name is there or not. That's very important. Because election, when you have the name in the voter list, then you are getting so many benefits from the state also. That's why it is very much required that one gets the satisfaction when you have the voting cards. We have the EPIC also. We have started all these things so that it should be not duplicated. Just by I want to say that it should not be duplicated, and only original person should vote, so that again India people should repose faith in the transparent of integrity of the election commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the short and crisp but very, very informative. We have an idiom saying "Gagar bhi sagar bharna." That means within a very short span of time, you are able to complete all the points. Now, may I request Honorable Sanjay sir to please present his inputs. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon to all, and thanks to the panelists who spoke before us. Prashant has already covered everything which I am supposed to say. So, in a brief, I'll just address that what is electoral roll, and or at other places it is known as voter register. I'll keep things simple so that I'll be able to convey something. In India, as voter registers, we call them electoral rolls, and this response, as you have seen, that since our independence, when we have started conducting elections, we have to prepare these electoral rolls, and its quality is improving, considering the size of India. These first is from Assam, then Rajasthan. And our electoral rolls in India are published in about 16 languages. And it does not depend upon the state. It varies within a state from assembly constituencies to assembly constituency. In Delhi, there are constituency with Urdu, electoral roll in Urdu. So there are other states with a different language is being used within a state. Not even nationally, we use about 15 languages, but within a state, from one constituency to another, we use a different language. Then now we have about around 2000, about 20 years ago, we again started with this photo electoral roll system, and now our electoral roll is in this form. These are electoral roll which are used in Bihar this year. So if you see the gradual upgradation, it is easy to find fault, but when we see the progression of quality of electoral roll, we have seen a growth, and now we are standing here, and now the task was upon us when this criticism was going on about the purity of electoral roll. How can an electoral roll be impure? There you can find few faults that okay, name of the dead people is also there. People who have already shifted, it is also there, and there are certain duplicate entries. Address is not unique, not pre-defined. So these were the few things when we decided to go for SIR. And this was also a goal to see if only the people who have to be in the electoral roll are in the electoral roll, and people who should not be in the electoral roll should not be in the electoral roll. In India, the eligibility is quite similar to other countries. Person should be citizen of India. 18 year of age, generally only resident of that constituency, and not disqualified under any law. But to ascertain this for a billion electors, and I'll just again clarify the meaning of the word elector and voters. We use in election commission sometimes interchangeably, but elector is whose name is in the electoral roll, and voter is when he votes. And to improve this quality of to prepare and maintain and to improve the quality of electoral roll, we have this machinery. On the base of the largest one in the field, there are about 1 million booth level officers who are going to these polling stations and working. Then electoral registration officer. If somebody asks how many electoral roll India has, so you can say about 4,129. We must understand that electoral rolls are as per assembly constituency. So in India, we have about 4,123 assembly constituencies in the states as delimited, and then a few constituencies for parliamentary elections where there are no assemblies, like Andaman or Lakshadweep. Then district election officer, and then chief electoral officers. And this is how we deal with about 1 billion electors. Just want to emphasize the scale. When we say that there is some error in the electoral somewhere, it is easy to say that okay, it is impure, it is affected. But daily we are making about 2.22 lakh, more than 2 lakh changes in electoral roll. Daily, many people are dying. So your electoral roll is a very continuous document. People are shifting, migrating. So it is very difficult to say that to achieve the goal of a pure electoral roll, or to have an electoral roll which is exact reflection of the reality on the ground. I doubt even that at other places they can employ 1 million people to just verify and every time and go through that. So we should be proud of what we have, and we should aim for it to improve further. Now, how we can improve electoral roll? In India, we have these annual revisions. We used to call them special summary revisions, but this year we have decided to hold special intensive revision. And we were supposed to revise electoral roll just before the election, but annually also. ECI used to order annual revisions. And what is the difference between summary revision and intensive revision? Very small difference. Revision is very simple exercise. You have to publish a draft. You have to invite claims and objection, and then you publish a final draft. That's all. That is a very simple. In intensive revision, a house-to-house survey is involved. People who are in India, they may be thinking that in some special summary revision also there was a house-to-house enumeration, but there was a special. That special word is there, so that's why it distinguishes from the plain summary revision. Is just re-serializing the existing roll and publishing it as a draft, asking people to object. That if someone's name is not there, please fill a form 6. And if someone's name is they object to that this is a wrong entry, so please fill a form 7 for deletion of their names. So the process of preparation of revising electoral rolls, preparation and revising similar, is very simple. Publish a draft roll, invite claims and objection, and publish a final roll. So this principle is important to understand that active participation of the citizen and your media and everyone is important to keep the purity of electoral roll. Nobody is participating. So thanks to people who have criticized the quality of electoral roll in the last 1 year. Because of them, now there is a focus and people are aware that they should not keep name at 2 places, or they should work and maintain the quality of electoral roll. So in India, we undertaken this task in last 1 year, and just to emphasize that during this SIR, special intensive revision, so far we have excluded about 70 million names of people who were dead, who have already shifted from that place, or whose entry was duplicate. So by to improve the quality of electoral roll, we have worked on these lines. Process was simple: inauguration phase, publication of draft rolls. As you know that BLO went house to house, he distributed an enumeration form, and thereafter people who have simply signed it, their name was included in the electoral roll. This is a sample of enumeration form which our booth level officer went to each house, about so far about 570 million houses to electors. He has distributed this form. So number of pages and number of electors he has contacted you, we have to just ascertain. We have prescribed how this to be filled. The data entry was done through QR code. Thereafter, draft was published. And currently, this after this draft, we invite people to object to any entry which is there in the draft rule. If it is defective, please raise. And through claims and objections, they can file it through different forms. Form 6 is used for declaration, form for new electors. Form 7 is for deletion. Form 8 is if somebody wants to shift from one place to another. So that form is being filled. The claims and objection comes from these words, that every claim that my name is not there has to be in Form 6. Every objection that this person is wrongly included, or this person is proposed to be wrongly included, has to come in Form 7. So that you fill these forms and say that, okay, I want to object to any entry. And I told you that we received Form 6, the number you can see that for addition, we get about annually 38 million forms. For deletion, we get about 21 million forms. And for correction of entries, their names, spelling, age, or addresses, we get about 22 million forms. And thereafter, final rule was published in Bihar, and to just assure the elector that, okay, they have the option to file appeals, that if they are not satisfied with the process, they can file appeal first to the district magistrate and second to the chief electoral officer. So that's all. If there is any other question about SIR, I'll be able to guide, and just wanted to cover the basics, as I told that Prashant has already done, and I think we are due for our lunch. Thank you so much.
First, I would like to thank all the distinguished panelists for their talk on purity of electoral rolls. As you are aware, there is a next session which is scheduled at 2:15, and I could hear the grumbling empty stomachs now, bellies. So that's the reason why we'll try to stick to only 2 questions. Okay, post which we'll continue for lunch, and post which the next session could be taken up. So we'll be having 2 questions, and whoever would be asked, the person who asked the question, my request would be, please try to introduce yourself, number 1, and number 2, keep the question brief, and number 3, also mention who that question is pointed to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. It was very informative, rather long, but very informative. I am Subodh Sharma. I'm a professor of computer science at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. And we've been working on creating technologies for electoral rolls and electronic voting machines for the past 6 years. And when I look at your presentations, I mean, this is a phenomenal piece of work, no doubt about it. The question which is to pretty much all the panelists, so it's not singularly to Premaji or to you or to other panelists, it's for everyone who is involved in the preparation and illustration of electoral rules for technology. When is it that we are going to go zero trust? The question. Zero trust architectures are becoming big. Are we moving towards that direction is what I would want to understand.
One more question.
Thank you.
The test scores are at
No. Yeah. Sorry, sir. Okay, one more question.
And the session was about the purity of the electoral rolls and what presentation we have gone through. That was all about the process and mechanisms and how
Can
electoral
you
rolls.
please introduce yourself?
My name is Sabir. I'm a special secretary in Finance Department, Government of UP. Also an LMT. So I was saying that the presentation were about the purity of electoral rolls and what presentations we could see that was all about the mechanism, the processes of the electoral roll preparation and what practices are being adopted with the different countries and different election management bodies. My question is that how we can ensure that this purity of electoral rolls runs in the autopilot mode and virtually all the time in a self-kinetic mode, so that if we can connect it with different set of data, maybe from the registrar of birth centers, maybe from some other sources, so that the data integration is there, backward data integration is there, so a background correction of the role is continuous and instead of waiting for somebody special revisions or SIR kind of things.
Take the last question and post which. Mr. Sameer, is your question addressed to any particular panelist? To the House. Okay. We'll take the third question.
Oh, hi, this is Professor.
Hello.
That question, to which will come.
Yeah, my name is Manish. I'm an assistant professor of law at the National Law School in Bangalore. Firstly, I want to compliment both the first and the last speakers for the comprehensive presentation and for emphasizing the point that in an era where technology is seen as a solution to everything, we still need a human sort of oversight marker before deleting somebody's name from the role. And I appreciate that both of you emphasized that point. My question is this: given that neither Article 324 nor Section 21 of the RP Act places any restriction on the frequency of carrying out revisions, from your experience of carrying this out, do you think the process would work better if we carried it out on a more regular basis rather than doing it at intervals of 20 years? Because the present, some of the grievances in my understanding of the present process are that it's being carried out after a long interval of time, and therefore there are issues with legacy documents and all of those things. So would you advocate for it being carried out on a more regular basis so that the purity of the role is met?
And your question is addressed to?
To the both of you, to the first and the last speakers from the commission.
We'll take the last question. Yeah.
Hi. Thanks to the entire panel for such an informative session.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Professor Mahapatra from Indian Institute of Management, Bodhgaya. My question particularly to Mr. Sanjay Kumar, when we are working with regard to the SIR revision, isn't it high time that government should come forward with a rogue voter list, the way we have kind of in case like when people go for drunk and driving and in case they alter, then we cancel their licenses. Then isn't it high time like if people go with like going all together with regard to either dual voting, dual registration, or might be doing anything wrong with regard to the process, then we should have essentially with regard to a rogue voter list.
Thank you. Sir, the first question is from Mr. Subodh Sharma. It's related to zero trust architecture. Anybody from the panel would like to take the hands? Sir?
Yeah.
Well, I could speak on it. Can you please tell me what do you mean by zero trust architecture?
See, in any technology, the one who is building the architecture has got asymmetric advantage because they are hosting the system, they are privileged system administrators. So when you talk about zero trust architectures, you are essentially moving towards a place where you can tell your users and customers that, look, here is a service that you can use, whatever that service may be. And you don't have to trust the privileged system administrator who's orchestrating that service or hosting that service or providing that service to the user. In this case, electoral rolls are being refined, and the entire management is with the body. That body is implicitly assumed to be trusted, and populations usually trust the constitutional bodies as such, but the frequency of questions that come your way, how do you address them is by moving towards a zero trust architecture, by saying that here are the proofs that even if I had an asymmetric power change after the entries were finalized or committed, I could go behind your back and change it. I don't have that power. If you provide that proof, then it essentially becomes a zero trust architecture.
Thank you, Mr. Subodh. Sir, first I would like to take it, sir, if you want to compliment or add anything. Mr. Subodh, I know it's lunchtime, so I'm going to make a reference to the to lunch itself. Proof of pudding lies in the eating. So the entire system, the efficiency of the system is based on who that particular system, who is getting the returns of that particular system. Like I have already mentioned in my presentation also, our system was more efficient than Six Sigma. At various stages, we had different engagements with the citizens, with the political parties. Yes, you say, as you have said, we hold the system, we have the system, we have developed the system. But however, at every stage, the citizens, the electors, and the political parties were involved. At every stage, their suggestions were taken, claims and objections were invited. A detailed hearing has taken place. The data was shared so that there is democracy in the data itself. And through various platforms, it was shared through newspapers, it was shared through the electoral draft electoral rolls. Free of cost was provided to the political parties, and the details or the electors who were deleted, the list was also provided to the level of booth level deletions were provided to them. And apart from that, we have given them a 1 month opportunity to come up with any kind of objections, and post which a detailed hearing has taken place. And like I've already mentioned, once this entire thing was taken forward and the final electoral roll was published, then we went to election. The proof was through elections. No elector had turned up on the polling booth and said that my name got deleted. That itself shows the entire process was efficient. Sir, would you like to add all this?
I thank you, and I'll to international audience also. I just want to clarify. There were a few questions, and I'll address because other remaining questions are also concerning the electoral rules. I am in charge of electoral rules in India. I look after that policy aspect of it and implementation of SIR. First question is about electoral rules. Sometimes we are very fancy of technological solution. Believe me, most of the technological solutions are being implemented in developing countries, unlike West, which is selling it as a solution. Their experts are coming, selling it. They are not implementing it in their own country. From other perspective, I'll say, let us say, Britain has never done the land survey, but they did it in India 200 years ago because they did it in their colonies. They could not force their electors or their citizens so much. They implemented compulsory registration here more than 150 years ago, but in London in 1989. Just giving a context. Technological solutions are very nice, and we sell it as a perfect solution. We are chasing perfect solution. What will happen if there is, let us say, excess voters? I'll address the solution combined. Then only your voting percentage will come down. And it is likely. This whole exercise that we should repeat it so many times, we should do it annually and with this scale, without working out the cost and benefit analysis. That is what we lack. Believe me, we also love these fancy solutions. And we would love to be empowered more to implement such and such solution every second. Why to even annually? Why not 6 monthly? These issues were so what has gradually developed the system which we have reached up to here. There were certain reasons for that. For technology, I'll just simply answer your question to the manner that Commission has not abandoned the copy, given hard copy to political parties. So that solution, the doubt that there is an electronic system, and it has evolved just now. Till 2018,